Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. As you know, it's St. Patrick's Day and Friday, and you know the drill by Fridays. Well, sick and tired of working, and the reason why I say that is because Mel and I are going to be talking about how to ease your stress in a job transition, believe it or not. Mel just did his, and I'm about to do mine here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll be explaining that as we go along, and we're going to talk a little bit about the American dream in a sense that we don't necessarily have to ask people, can we necessarily do this? We can just do it on our own. And I just found out from a friend that I made the assumption that I said to her, because she goes, I'm from Dublin originally, St. Patrick's Day, and I said to her, well, the American dream is what you choose, and she goes, when? I made millions over here. And so that's why we're talking about job transitions and the American dream. But it's more about how to keep your sanity during job transitions. And without further ado, I'm going to let Mel take it away.
Happy St. Patrick's Friday, everybody. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, at least where I'm at in California. I don't know where you are, but I hope you are having a warm-hearted Friday. This is a very important topic that we're talking about. Job transitions, career pathing, your environment by which you can flourish while you're working, and the decisions to change it if not so. Those are the experiences I've gone through. So without further ado, let's fire this off. Lynn, give us a topic, give us a scenario, and your experiences, and we'll go from there.
My experiences. Now, Glenn, as you guys know, I am an edupreneur or agile journalist, whether you put it that way, meaning that I educate people about solo entrepreneurship or educate people about journalism, soon-to-be journalism. And I am going through a job transition this next year. My colleague is moving from Aspen back to Oklahoma for family reasons. So what I've decided to do is stay in education because I'll always be a teacher. I'll always be a teacher until the day I die. But that being said, I have actually made the decision to go work with hopefully third, or fourth, or fifth grade. So I'm out of the preschool realm because I love the preschool realm, but it has its pros and cons, and I am just about to be burnt out of preschool. So I thought, well, why not, while I'm getting my journalism degree, why not focus on a older group of kids? And then, as you guys know, teachers don't make a ton of money, so you might as well be happy in your job. You might as well go to work every day and be happy. Not to say I'm not happy when I go to work, but I'm not happy when kids I tell them something and then they just seem to repeat it, or it goes in one ear out the other. At least with the older set of kids, you'll get a little more compassion and a little more understanding, or so I hope. So I wanted to talk to Mel today and you guys about keeping your sanity through this job transition. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Mel back in. And my first question, Mel, is how do we keep our sanity?
Okay, great question. First, I want to address one thing. Number one, the courage it took for you to make that decision, because we all have a superpower, and it's evident that it was really tugging at you. Okay, and yes, you had the patience to work with preschoolers and whatnot, which is incredibly valuable, of course, in the process of education. However, in your heart and mind alignment, you knew that your superpower would be best served if A, you really polish your entrepreneurial skills and path, and B, set out on a mission to make a greater impact with third, fourth, and fifth grade. For some reason, that is what you're thinking you should do, and you followed it. I have a friend of mine, and I've been able to really develop some great relationships over the years with some top-notch professionals. And when I opened my first and last brick and mortar business of a luxury personal training studio, and she said, something very poignant, something to the effect of, well, you had a vision, you carried it out. You set out to put your vision in motion because you're an expert at what you do, and that's why you're going to succeed. And she was very matter-of-factly about it, as if, yeah, sure, of course, popcorn tastes good. That's why you eat it. So it was. So that's the same offering I'm giving you. So kudos to you for making that decision. Now, segueing into how do you keep your sanity? Well, that's one of them. Having the courage to make a decision to really take a critical look at your career. Where are you? What are your surroundings? What are the tangible and intangible factors that are important to you? Are you really maximizing your skills and talents? Do you know what your skills and talents are? Are you aware that you have superpowers, and are you maximizing them to your fullest potential so that you are serving the level that you want to serve at? Now, there are people who just clock in, clock out. They're happy with that. They collect a paycheck. Okay, fine. If that's you, fine. Awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. That's your chosen path. That's actually where the universe and God put you. We all cannot be hungry, courageous entrepreneurs. We can't. There's a checks and balances system in the universe. So some people are worker bees and some people are not, right? So anyway, to answer your question, how do you keep your sanity? Constantly looking and reflecting at where you're at. Take inventory once in a while. Pump the brakes. Where are you? If you have stress in your life and you have duress, or you have things that are weighing you down, and you're not able to be present and you're constantly under duress, you've got to pump the brakes and stop for a second. Life is going to move on with or without you, so you might as well stop where you're standing, take a good look, and if you're looking at a bunch of redwood trees in front of you that are huge and really tall, it's time to jump up like an eagle and fly like an eagle, take a bird's eye view, and see clearly why you're feeling that way. And then ascertain from there what your next move is. That's really a major factor of keeping your sanity. If you don't do that, that's your choice, no matter how stressful it is. No matter what the circumstance is. If you're pigeonholed in there and you can't go any further, or, you got X number of mouths to feed at home and you're stuck in your career, how many stories have you heard of people who said enough is enough, communicate with their families, tighten up their belts and say, we're going to cut these expenses. I'm going to take a hit here, but it's for the greater good so we can be happier. And next thing you know, that gap is closed because they pursue another career. They improve their skill set. They go back to school. They improve their superpowers, and they follow their heart and their mind, and they change their path. And there's countless stories like that. You don't have to be stuck where you're at. You know what I mean? So that's one surefire way to, reduce your stress.
No, you don't. And that's what I was given the opportunity to leave. I thought, well, due to my disability, I might as well teach the next generation as to what being disabled is really like, because I'm not getting off the walker anytime soon, and I am not giving it up anytime soon. I'm not giving teaching up anytime soon. So if you guys think I am insane for going back into teaching when I was given the opportunity to leave. I only do it 1 to 2 mornings a week. Keep my sanity and keep my books going and, of course, this podcast going. But I think your career path is getting a career path and changing it is, I think, that's something we all should do at one point, because it's not only for monetary reasons. You not only have the security of the paycheck, you have the security of being stimulated every day and watching your colleagues learn from you, in a sense. Wouldn't you agree now?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's, your career path is really up to you. There are many options and opportunities, and it's very important to take inventory. And I remember right after I shut down my company, a good friend of my ex-wife's came to me and said, hey, I know this isn't your cup of tea, but, I lead a pretty big team. I've got a pretty big responsibility here at a major telco company, and I think it could be a right fit for you. And I ended up going. And it was 4 years of the worst professional experience of my life, but the best experience that I learned from. And like you were saying that your peers are learning around you. Sure, yeah, there are going to be people that are better than you, and you only improve if there are people better than you. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in trouble. You're just not going to get anywhere in your life. So, spending 4 years in corporate America really affirmed and negated what I knew and didn't know. And I always say that now, I've learned now that I'm brilliant at what I do. I'm one of the best at it. I equally don't know what I don't know, meaning that I really don't know squat, right? In a grander scheme of things, if you no longer want to learn, and if you no longer want to pump the brakes in your career and see exactly, has the technology of my field surpassed me? Has the skill set and the market share surpassed me? What can I do to make myself relevant? It's all about being relevant, right? If you're not, where are you? What are you? Who are you? You know what?
Yeah.
Nothing. You're done.
Nothing.
There's somebody hungrier than you. There's somebody who wants it worse than you in a competitive world. That's part of the American dream, is being able to live in a competitive world, right? It's not handed out. You got to go get it.
And I know because I follow the pulse of education, and I know that the education system is getting worse and worse, but I know they're not teaching keyboard skills anymore. I listen to a podcast, and I'm actually going to give this podcast a shout out. It's called The Teachers Network, and it's hosted by Jeff Bradbury up in New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey is on the East Coast, but he is a technological coach, and what he does is steps into the classroom and supports all his teachers in New Jersey, teaching them technology. And it's not about teaching keyboard classes, mind you. It's about teaching Minecraft. It's about teaching Google web pages. It's about teaching iPhones. It's about teaching on iPads. So you got to stay current with your technology. Now, granted, I don't know if we have a technology coach, but maybe in the next couple of years I'll become a technology coach, just so the kids have some sort of technology. So in the classroom that isn't keyboard, because I know 1 and 2 year olds that know about the iPad better than I do. So you gotta stay current in the technology field in the field that you're already in with this technology, and you got to look at where you are. And if you're not happy in corporate, come out here and join all of us. If you are, that's perfectly fine. If you want a side hustle, now granted, I've been having this side hustle for 11 years. It will be 11 years in June, believe it or not. And I've been teaching preschool for 11 years, and I'm super excited for my career change because it's going to be a real change going from preschool to You're Not My Friend in fourth and third grade and potentially fifth grade, all depending on where they put me, and I'll find that out April 3rd. But you guys really got to look at your career path and see how can I be helpful. My biggest thing is my biggest thing to my work right now, and they hear me talk about this until I'm fluent with it. I want to be helpful. I want to be useful. I want to teach about cerebral palsy, aka teach about diversity. And so I want these kids to know that we're not all perfect humans they're walking around. And so I think that's the key. You want to be helpful. You want to be useful in whatever career path you choose.
I love that. I think you just described a new position for yourself, being a technology expert, a bridge, a healthy bridge between what you do in the technological world.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, somebody's got to do, so you might as well do it. And think about how prosperous that would be. Think about being the bridge between the people in your industry, the people with disabilities, the people who are educators, and technology, right? I mean, I'm not talking about understanding programming. I'm talking about applications. I mean, simple apps.
Yeah, applications.
Somebody's got to teach that. Absolutely.
That's why I just described the new position for myself on this podcast. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not all about keyboard skills anymore in classes, in computer classes. It's about internet safety. So, that all listening to this podcast are going to say to me, "Oh, listen to your co-host now." And so I'm like, okay, great. But and so what I'm saying is, you guys got to look at the technology. You guys got to look at the sanity end of it. And part of the sanity is following your heart. And if your heart isn't happy, your brain isn't happy, and then you go back to emotional eating, which we talked about in the last episode, which is not good. So, because you'll be eating because you're depressed because you're not happy at work. So see where all that Nell would agree with me. And so I think that you have to look at where you were in your 20s, and I had my stuff and the roses moment in my 20s, and I knew that there was a deeper calling going through my stuff and the roses moment, which I fully admit what that stuff and the roses moment was in my original biography. So I think you guys have to follow your heart, the family now.
And you speaking about all that, it really reminds me of what I do in my coaching program, which is, mind and heart alignment. And it's inspiration and or versus motivation, right? So I believe that motivation is fostered by a mental goal. When you're when you're mentally stimulated to do a change or go after something, you set out this goal. The problem with that is that it's very short change and you're just running on pure adrenaline because you're convincing yourself mentally that it's a great thing to pursue. The difference between inspiration and a goal is that you do things that inspire you because it's from your heart. It touches your heart. How many things and times do you remember being just god-awfully exhausted, but still getting up to go do something because you knew consciously and subconsciously it's what you wanted the most and that situation needed you and you were a catalyst in it. And if you didn't perform or do said project or task, it would be greatly negatively affected. Now, in a motivational standpoint, you can easily just forgive yourself if it's just something that you just thought, oh, well, I'll pick it up later on. So what I'm trying to say here is the value system is completely different when you deal with something on a motivation level versus an inspiration level. If you don't take the time to pump the brakes and take a good reflective look of where you're at and make adjustments and make a shift, even just a slight change in course, which could drastically, change the outcome of your career path, you're always going to be trying to find motivation to do what you need to do rather than having the inspiration to get to do what you do. There's a phrase of having a get-to life, right? Do you get to do the things that you do because it's really, really enjoyable no matter how you feel? Or do you have to do the things in your life because you just feel like you have to, you're supposed to, right? If you want sustainability of success, you have to be inspired to do it. Now, people have succeeded at high levels, being motivated and whatnot, but there's a great cost to that. You know what that cost is, Wayne? Happiness, their health, their fitness, everything. But when a person's inspired, they will make adjustments. They will make changes. They have the courage. They'll do all that, and their ebbs and flows and trends are more on not so much jagged upward trend, or it's more of a rolling hills rather than a real jagged type trend going up and down, kind of like a Wall Street report, right? So that's what you just remind me of when you talked about everything you just said. So inspiration versus motivation is a very clear-cut thing to me. And every day I spent the last 6 months getting up at 3:45 in the morning and going on average between 10 and 11 at night, getting 4.5 to 5.5 hours of sleep at the most, and waking up at 3:45 to perform at a high level at 5 a.m. to coach 16 to 20 people who are counting on me to impact their lives for that hour, because it's going to set the tone for their day and inch them a little bit closer to the results in their health and fitness. I don't have to put that kind of pressure. I can just show up and do it. But as a professional, I could tell you that I take that responsibility wholeheartedly. I don't take it lightly. And I'm inspired to do it because I know that my actions and performance are going to impact them that way. That's the love I have for what I do mentally. If you can get yourself to that place and make the changes in your life personally and professionally, you will lead an incredibly fruitful life. And you're going to love what you do every day, no matter, how little or how much you get paid. You know what I mean? So anyway, just a thought.
And that's what I hope this real pivot of what you just said will bring me. Because, granted, I got this job. I'm not kidding when I say this. I lost my job in 2009. I started that volunteer job in 2006. And I lost that job in 2009. It's funny that because when I got that volunteer job, I had my first back surgery. It's funny that I almost had back surgery again during this career pivot, which we escaped somehow. And so it's ironic and goes full circle that, again, my back almost had to be cut open during this career pivot. But what this health scare has taught me is I need to make this real pivot while I can. Because granted, I'm not getting any younger, I'm actually getting older. So I need to make myself happy, and I need to inspire the next generation.
Yes, you're thinking ahead. I like that. You know, again, I can't help but think that it's such a blessing that you're not going through your surgery, because your life would have came to a screeching halt for a short time. You know, your recovery time would have been there. But definitely a higher power out there decided, no, I don't think so. We'll go ahead and give you some options, and you and your dad were able to pick what you felt was the obvious choice, and here you are. Here you are with this opportunity to, reflect greatly and be inspired and pick and do things that, that are going to come from your heart and your mind, and you're really going to love it. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you for that. And what that day, what that final last meeting taught me is I need to go inspire the next generation to achieve their dreams and to live their dreams the highest, because I'm like, we don't know when the last moment of life for all of us is going to be. And I had the health care of my life, and I thought I was going to land up being flat on my back this summer, but apparently a higher power stepped in and said, no, but we want you to make a career pivot. But it's ironic that when I originally had my back surgery, I was stepping into education. When I now was supposedly having back surgery, I'm now making a career pivot, which will make me a lot happier, because even though fourth and the fifth grade have those problems of why isn't she my friend, they can understand cerebral palsy just a little bit more than preschool, which I'm hoping that will be the catalyst to make me happy, because I want to see these kids succeed. And someone earlier today, when I was doing an interview, they said, who inspires you and why? And I thought, well, my colleagues inspire me, because they're doing what they're letting me in, they're letting diversity into their classrooms without starting a stick at it. Two, they're taking on more responsibilities than I could on a daily basis. And it's not, and I'll admit to you guys right now, it's not because of my disability by any means that I'm not holding a full-time job, a typical 9-to-5 job. It's because of my psyche. And Mel could attest to that in coaching, because teaching is a lot of emotion. And granted, we don't get paid as much as we should. That's a whole nother podcast in itself. It makes me very angry. But along with coaching, teaching is a lot of emotions that I have come home and decompress from the week. So when you're dealing with emotions, how do we deal with that gracefully now?
Coaching and teaching have a lot of parallels to it. And for me, I love bringing the best out of others, and I cannot imagine a life where I'm not bringing out the best in others, right? So there's two parts to teach. There's some of the parts of teaching is teaching somebody a skill or something new, right? Opening up their mind to something new. And then the second part of that is, once they've learned it, enhancing that skill, And that takes a lot of love. That takes a lot of patience. And there are different ways of doing it. You've got different audiences. Some are cerebral, some are emotional, some are vocal, some are, thinkers, some are doers, some are mechanical, some are tactical. No matter what, you have to engulf and embrace so many different personalities. And if you truly want to teach, you've got to almost set yourself aside and mirror those personalities so that you can inspire them and find some trigger in them. Find something about that person and in the time that you get to know them to inspire them and motivate them together and build that vision in their mind that if they just, stick to it and stay and don't give up, their little efforts every day will lead to massive results at the end, So, yes, it is a labor of love. Yes, it takes a lot of emotion. Yes, it takes a lot of mental strength at the same time, right? I mean, you have to be very, very strong to be a teacher. And it's a very, how would you say, rewarding, but also thankless position sometimes. Because if you get in a situation where the people you're trying to inspire and bring the best out of and open their minds to learning something new don't want to, wow, there's no worse situation than that.
Yeah.
Right? But then you get the audience that is absolutely thirsty for knowledge, absolutely open-minded, absolutely ready to get that bubble. Boy, they just bring the best out of you as a coach and as a teacher. That's why you do it.
Yeah. That's why we do it.
That's the part when it's easy to be a professional. I think a true professional is when it's really hard and you really, roll up your sleeves, get on your knees, dig deep, find it within, and still come out on top. That's when you're really a professional. It's very easy when things are going great. It's when it's not going great, and no matter what profession you're at, whether it's coaching, teaching, manufacturing, leadership, whatever the case may be, when it's not going great is when you really got to be your best.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because now I am doing an event on April 10th with a friend of mine who's the director of Bridging Bionics. He's actually coming to my school and explaining how the robot works and why Wynn uses the robot. And of course, they want me to be the MC for the event. And I'll try and videotape it so you guys can see it. I'll try and somehow get it to you guys. But it's so funny because they put this all-school assembly together. And it's so funny because the preschoolers know who I am. They know who I am. And the older kids who are now thirsty for knowledge about anything don't know who the heck I am. And it's so funny when they said, do you want to do all-school assembly on this? And I'm like, sure. But the older kids know who I am, but they don't know me that well. So I think it's going to be a wonderful all-school assembly is all I own. But I think when you dig it down deep and pull those knowledge out of kids or adults, that's the best feeling in the world.
Oh, isn't it? It's just amazing. And no matter what profession you're in, when you impact somebody's life, you add value to them by simply, acknowledging them or, teaching them something or making them feel good in any way. There's no greater feeling than that. And if that doesn't stimulate you and make you feel good, you're dead. You're
living under a rock.
You're toxic. Yeah, you're living under a rock, right?
You're living under a rock.
Yeah.
And
so anyway, yeah.
And so now, give us a couple more things for people that are going through career changes can help us in the long run make it better.
I've always said that nobody ever succeeds alone. If you look at all the things you've ever done in your life that got you to the next level, somebody helped you along the way, personally and professionally. And personally, it's chances are it's going to be your family, right? It's going to be the people that care about you the most. It behooves you to communicate with them. It behooves you to open dialogue with people that you trust, that'll give it to you straight and will tell you where you are. You're the closest to you that you trust the most are the ones that are going to be the most honest to you. Ask them. Take a poll. Ask them what they think your superpowers are. And equally, what are your weaknesses? Do not be afraid to hear what your weaknesses are. Because there's three things you could do with your weaknesses, right? You can delegate it, you can improve it, or you can eliminate it, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And you could focus all on your strengths. That is just high-level business 101, leadership 101. And once they tell you what your superpowers are, you absolutely want to polish that and refine it and make it better because it brings out such energy out of you and you attract greater situations for you when you're able to apply the love and the mental strength towards it. If you're doing something that's resentful or you're doing something just for a tactical reason, oh, if I learn this, I'll make more money. Yeah, I'm really not into it. It kind of sucks. I hate it. I'll learn this. I'll tough it out. But at the end, I'll make more money. What kind of energy are you really putting towards that? And what kind of energy are you going to attract back to yourself? Not very good.
Yeah.
If you are an intuitive person and you're creative and you pick a profession or an educational pursuit that's completely opposite of that, like you're going to be an engineer. Oh, my God. If you have more of a creative side of yourself and you're going to be a programmer or you're going to study data and statistics, oh, you couldn't quash your spirit harder than you could possibly imagine. You know, that's, maybe you could tough it out. Okay, great. But, you know, you're doing it for the pot of gold at the end that represents a financial gain, a means to an end, right? There's a whole lot of things that are going to go on with that. There's a whole lot of baggage that will go on with that. So, again, going to the people that you trust the most to give you the best feedback is very, very important. The flip side of that, the professional people in your life that you trust, absolutely talk to them. Ask them for their professional opinion of your performances, of where you're at. What are you best suited for? Ask them the same questions. They'll give you completely different answers than somebody who knows you personally. Because someone who knows you intimately on a personal side doesn't know what your work habits and work ethic is like in the office. Completely different, you know. So that's definitely one, you know, two of the things you could do to not so much reduce the stress, but to just be able to delve into it a little bit deeper. You don't want to be, and you never want to be a person who manages by crisis. Managing anything by crisis is very reactionary. You don't want to be reactionary.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to be a knee-jerk reaction person. Something happens, you freak out. Something happens, you react. Something happens, no. You want to just pump the brakes for a second. Don't react right away. Sometimes the best reaction is no reaction. Sit back for a little bit. Let it unfold. Let some time go by. How can I look at this? What are my actions going to dictate here? You know, where do I want to be in the marketplace? What value do I have? What can I put towards it? What are my superpowers? Those are great questions you want to be asking yourself. You want to be a proactive person. You don't want to be a reactive person. Sure, there's some things you want to react to, but not everything. That's the difference between leading and managing, right? You don't want to manage by crisis. A bomb goes off, you got to create a bigger one to pull one out and throw it out there. No.
Yeah,
You can't defuse a bomb that's already gone off. So you might as well just sit back and don't throw another one to make it go off and you know, have a, you know, self-perpetuating situation. So anyway, those are just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, though you need to be happy, and that's we go into it. And you need to be happy, and you need to look at your life where it stands. And as I said, Stan, I got into the teaching field and into inspiring kids and into the glorified babysitter, as I've been called. Yes, preschool teachers are called the glorified babysitters, but I got into this field when my back went down, and now I'm making a clear path as I get stronger with my back and delaying back surgery. And so what I'm thinking now is that third Dolphin, now the Roses moment in my life was, I thought, well, am I going to curl up in the ball? No. Am I going to make a career pivot? Yes. And I was given the opportunity to make this career pivot, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, granted, you guys will get to hear, and hopefully it will be on a Friday when we do this, so Mel can intimidate me or be nice about it. My colleague, my boss, is actually being on my podcast. I can't believe she said yes, but she did, because I want you guys to understand, one, why they hired me, what those silly people did to hire me, and two, what the philosophies of Country Day are. Now, granted, you guys have heard about Country Days all across the country. I know they have Country Days all throughout California. They may be named differently, but they certainly have the Country Day name in the school. But they're not related. They're not related in any sense of the word. They may have the same philosophies of education, the outdoors, and the arts, but they're not related in any sense of the word. They may just spin their philosophies differently than we do. We get that question all the time. All the Country Days related to your Country Day win, and so that's what I just wanted to caveat it there and say, no, the Country Days are not related. They may have the same name, they may have the same philosophies, but we're not a chain of schools.
That's a great education. I didn't know that at all. Yeah, there are a lot of Country Days out here. They have great reputations. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm super lucky to work at Country Day. Country Day is one of the best schools on the planet, and so if you guys can get your kids into a Country Day, you will, no matter where you are, you will not regret it, because one of our philosophies, and I believe, and I'll do a little bit of research on this, I believe that all the Country Days have the same philosophies of the academics, the outdoors, and the arts. And so it's a wonderful philosophy to go by, and I was lucky enough to be a student there. Now I'm lucky enough to be a colleague there, a teacher there. So I got that philosophy all my life, and quite frankly, I can do it in my sleep. But that's a question, Mel, that we get all the time. But we want you guys to think about your career, and if you go into teaching, yes, you have to go into teaching with a wide open heart, and if you go into coaching, you have to go into coaching with a wide open heart, because at the beginning and with teaching, you won't make a lot of money to live on. So you guys have to, those of you who are planning to go into teaching, and those of you who are planning to go into coaching, just have to realize you have to make it work with your life and go into it with an open heart. Now, and I'm going to let you close this out, because I took this episode over, and I'm sorry that I got on an educational soapbox.
Oh, not a soapbox at all. It's no pun intended, but a great education for me. Anyway, guys, so again, to recap, pump the brakes a little bit. If you feel like you're in the middle of a forest and all you can see are the big redwoods and the big old trees in front of you, just stop the motion. Fly above it. Take a good look at all the players in the game. Take a look at the entire situation and answer the question, now what? Okay? Career pathing has a lot to do with your superpowers. Ask your most trusted friends and colleagues, what are your superpowers, and more importantly, what are your weaknesses? All right? So if you can harness that, then you can have a life where you can't imagine a life without bringing out the best in other people. Adding value to somebody is one of the greatest rewards ever. All right? So simple things like that can help alleviate whatever stress you're going through in your life and your career. And if you're at a dead-end track, create more tracks ahead of you so you can keep moving forward. That's easy as that, right?
It's easy as that. And when you're finished going through a health scare, you guys, this is a great time to make a career pivot. Trust me, you're talking to a person who just got finished her health scare, and now she's making a career pivot. So if the doctors tell you you can't do this anymore, you can't be chasing kids about no room, just take that and use it as I wish fully sober and a blessing in disguise, because and you don't have to be chronically disabled like I am and have CP. You can just have a small health scare, and then the doctors will tell you what to do, and then use it as a catalyst to launch your next career.
Absolutely. You know, we all have choices, right? You're never a life without choices, and that is the American dream.
We all have choices. We all have choices. And you guys, when that day episode comes out, I hope that we decide to do it on the Friday, and I will certainly videotape the event of my friend walking in the EXO with the kids, Google eyed, so that you guys can see the reaction of the kids' faces. But let's go and inspire people, whether it be in teaching and coaching. And I know that for teachers, it's burnt out time, but I'm telling you guys, you need to keep inspiring until May, and then you can just make a career pivot or just continue inspiring. But I hope you guys enjoyed this fabulous episode with knowledge bites from Mel and I. I know I certainly did. And I hope
I sure did too.
Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day and be safe, be happy, be lucky that we're all still inspiring people, no pun intended, but most importantly, be safe tonight. I don't want to hear anyone hangovers the next morning. I know I will, but be safe, and if you need a ride, this is my PSA too, if you need a ride, call Uber, call one of those call services that from wherever you're going from a St. Patrick's Day dinner to a bar and get back home safely, please, you guys, because Mel and I want to see you either in the gym next week or somewhere inspiring the next generation, and I'm sure Mel would echo that.
Oh, I concur. Absolutely. Have a wonderful time tonight. Spend it with some friends, but be smart. Make good choices. Be safe, and have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, and I will see you guys on Monday, and then we will see you guys also on Monday, and we will also see you guys on Friday. I said see you guys. I meant to have you guys listen to us. Why did I just do that? I'm still in the...
It's Friday. It's okay.
It's fine. I'm on spring break. My brain is still not
You've checked
over
out.
this. I checked out. And so I want you guys to have fun, be safe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.
Take care, everybody.